Hey, Zach.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Team Liquid press conference, where we're going to go over some updates to the LCS roster. We're joined here today by co-CEO and co-owner Steve Arhancet and GM of the League of Legends team, Dodo. Steve is going to kick us off with some opening remarks. Steve.
Awesome. Thanks, Miles. Appreciate it. So I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. Appreciate it. We have posted a statement that you can find on our social accounts. And I just want to add that I know that there's been a lot of frustration and lack of clarity, and that's why we've decided to do a press conference. We believe that this format is a good way to be just open and provide clarity and answer questions. None of the questions that will be asked today have been screened. It's a live format, so it's just really transparent. The main reason why I'd like for us to do this is also just talk to our fans. Love all of you guys and gals, and appreciate your love for the organization, our team and players. And with that, I'd like to read the statement that we posted. So I'll kick that off and then we'll just go right into questions. So Jad has resigned his position as head coach and departed Team Liquid effective immediately. In his place, Cold has been promoted as interim head coach, and Hacks Defender serving as the assistant coach for LCS. When Jad joined us last year, we were coming off a challenging spring split. His guidance immediately turned us around. We finished summer 15-3, our best regular season record ever. Went to Worlds. We won the inaugural lock-in tournament. Trophy behind me. And came within one nexus of going to MSI in 2021. We cannot thank Jat enough for his work and dedication to Team Liquid and wish him the best of luck moving forward. Separately, Santorin continues to experience debilitating systems which may be related to health issues he's dealt with in the past. Santorin has decided to take some time away from competing to properly rest and visit specialists who determine the cause of these issues to prevent them from potentially worsening. The support Santorin in his decision and will continue to provide the medical resources we can to help diagnose and treat his symptoms. We'll continue to monitoring Santorin's health condition until he and his doctor are comfortable with him returning to play. Armeo will be playing in the LCS for at least this weekend, and he has our full support. Alfaro remains on a personal break until June 27th, and Jenkins will continue to start in the LCS until further notice. We are extremely proud of his standout play and commitment to the team amid circumstances. All right. Let's
Thanks,
just,
Steve.
Yeah, you're welcome. You can jump into it.
Yeah. So, hello, press. This format will seem very familiar to you if you've ever participated in an LCS press conference before. What we're going to do is using the raise hand function, we're going to call on you if you have a question and try to get a question from everybody before we start to go into follow-ups. So go ahead and raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question. Thank you. Okay, we'll begin with Alan from Dexerto.
Heyo.
Hey,
Obviously,
Alan.
tough day, things happening. So can you kind of give us a little timeline of Jack's resignation and the motivations behind having a coaching change or encouraging or not encouraging Jack to stay or leave? How did that happen, and what are the team's outlooks going forward?
Yep. Okay, so timeline. So going back to the spring split, we made a good run in playoffs. We made it to the finals. We were competing against Cloud9. During that time, I would describe the team dynamic as very healthy, positive, constructive. Unfortunately, Lucas was experiencing these health conditions, and so Armeo stepped in and played during playoffs. And after that time, there was a break. A month before the start of the summer split, we started practice back up. At that time, Barney was going through some, what I would consider, major health and family issues. I think the symptoms associated with these issues were him questioning his motivation to play, his enjoyment to even play League of Legends. And this was also kind of showing that he wasn't competing for the team, for his teammates, or even himself in the manner he was in the spring. And this was recognized. The coaching staff had a conversation with Barney and suggested that he take a break. At that time, the decision was not to. And I think in hindsight, 2020, we should have been more pushy with him taking a personal break at that time. But we didn't. And we continued on. Continued scrims where performance was not great. We went into the first week of LCS. We had our match against TSM. And then after that match, there was a conversation that happened between us and Barney. And my take of that is that that conversation was not handled well at all by the organization. And we take full kind of accountability for that not going as well. And not only that conversation, but also the subsequent actions that were taken after that conversation were not optimal. And then from that conversation, there was a different interpretation of events between both Barney and Josh. And this continued to kind of be an issue, and it was not resolved immediately. After that, about a week later, we met as a team. And when I say team, I mean coaching staff, myself, and the players. And we came to a conclusion that Barney would take a personal break until June 27th. At that time, we communicated that to Barney, and he was still not sure of his level of motivation. And that kind of continued. And 2 days ago, Josh resigned, and I accepted his resignation. And that brings us to today.
Next question from Nick Geracie from Inven Global.
Can you hear me?
Yes. What's up, Nick?
Great. Thanks for doing this, guys. I really appreciate it. My question for you is, obviously Jenkins has played great in the interim, really has exceeded expectations, but what is the plan for him going forward? If Alfari's coming back, where does Jenkins factor into that? And how does Dokla's signing to Team Liquid Academy recently factor into the long-term big picture for the League of Legends program of Team Liquid?
Yeah, excuse me. I could answer that. So going forward, when we decide to bring Alfari back into the team, our plan is to keep Jenkins in LCS and run a 6-man roster, and have Dokla be our academy top laner until end of this year. And we are confident in rostering a 6-man roster, and basically getting full potential out of both players, because I think both players have good strength, and I think we can utilize them to our advantage, and I think it will work very well.
And just to clarify, the decision on how Barney comes back to the team in some manner, whether that's coming to the office, participating in scrims, partly in scrims, fully in scrims, competing in LCS, all of those, while unsatisfying for this group and our fans, we don't have the answer on that. And that is a decision that we will make, meaning it's not going to be a unilateral decision down from myself or the coaching staff. It will be a group decision. We'll basically go into a room and we'll talk about this, and we'll come to what we think is best for our chances to win. And we'll discuss that as a group, but that won't happen until the 27th.
Next question from Pedro Romero from GameZo.
Yes, hello. I'd like to wonder, how long will Santorin be out on the sidelines until his return?
Yeah, so for Santorin, we want to make sure that his health comes first. And with Santorin powering through the summer with the similar symptoms that he had in spring, and he's a competitor, like he wanted to win for the team, and he was powering through the whole summer, even with the pain almost every day. And in the most recent weeks, the pain has become worse, which is why it was brought up in the surface. And we are currently in the process. Before this, we hadn't seen multiple doctors. We hadn't go see an ENT doctor, got him a CT scan, got him to see multiple physicians to find out what the reason of his migraines or headaches are coming from. But as you guys probably know, like migraines and headaches, it's really hard to pinpoint what the causes of those are. But currently we're in the process of eliminating all the potential issues of why it's causing it, and we are giving in the best care that we can possibly get around the area. And in the meantime, we want to make sure he focuses on his health first, and when he's comfortable and when he can feel like he can give his 100% and come back and play, that's when we'll make the decision that he and him will make the decision together that he can come back to the team and play.
Yeah, and just to clarify, like last night, so I'm here at the Elmore training facility, and the apartments are right next door, and we had a conversation with Lucas about this, and it was important for us that this was a decision that he would make, and I assured him that his health and his improvement of his health is the most important thing. It's more important than this game, this organization, his commitment to any of that. Like, he needs to get better, and he shouldn't feel a pressure, and we can still win a championship, and that he needs to focus on those steps to kind of uncover what is causing this. And of course, TL resources are amazing, and navigating the healthcare system is not easy, and finding quality practitioners is a skill. And we are doing everything that we can, but we don't know the date. We're going to play it by ear.
Next question from Mostafa Salem from esports.gg.
Hello. thank you for taking this. Like, thank you for taking the time to clarify everything, and I really appreciate like organizations being clear in their communication, even though you addressed it before, I think in a tweet on June 12th. But getting the opportunity to speak face to face helps a lot. There is two questions I wanted to ask. The Alfari incident brings back memories of Piglet, which he was part of Team Liquid between 2015 and 2017. There is similarities between Alfari and Piglet, both in terms of like character, ability, and even their situations in some extent. Do you think imports who usually come into NA with like strong characters are harder to handle?
I'll give my personal opinion. I think Team Liquid as an organization has probably worked with more players than most of the LCS teams. We might have worked with the most, I think. My experience with this is that culture shock is a real thing that's not predicated only on language. There is an adoption period to coming to the US and making this a new home, and that takes time. And I think the differences between the Piglet and Barney situation are that Barney was going through something that I feel is major. I don't know how you could go through that and continue to be the teammate and player that you intended to be. And I think that works its way into the situation that we have right now. And I have empathy for that, which is not similar to some of the kind of culture shock things that that happened with Piglet when he came.
Thank you so much. And the second question, I'm really sorry. The second question is really quick. If you can maybe clarify the personal reasons a bit, if you're comfortable to do so, because I believe homesickness was mentioned before, and I wanted to know how much was that part of the issue he's going through, or was it all down to conversations being handled in not the best manner, like you said before?
Sorry, I'm not sure I understand the question, but if you mean like what are the personal issues with Barney, I don't feel like it's our position to share that. If you're looking for specifics on it.
Next question is from dGon from Ven.
Hey, what's up, guys? Like everyone said, thanks for doing this. Transparency is always great. I kind of want to know what the goals for the team are moving forward, given the fact that you removed one of the major architects and leaders of this squad, and what Cold's goals are here. So goals for Cold and goals for the team moving forward, and how this change is going to solve things.
Yeah. So Cold understands, and he understands what his role is exactly. He doesn't feel like he has to, step up to, fill in all the roles that what JIHYE was doing, but just focus on what he's already been doing, and he's been doing great on the strategy, and all the players have very high respect of him and as a coach. So going forward, the team is on board and they are on the same boat and have the same goal as they just want to win, right? And in Cold being very thoughtful of like the situation, he is handling it very well, and he's just focusing on how to play and win basically tomorrow and like this weekend. So he also our assistant coach coming up, our 2A coach, Hex Defender, he's also coming in and working more directly towards the LCS team, and he'll be a lot of help.
Yeah, if I could just add real quick, the goal is to win. Someone asked me a couple of days ago, what does it mean to be unstoppable? And my definition of that is that you're not trying to avoid obstacles coming your way. You have to assume that they're coming, and it's how you deal with it. When you feel like the sky is falling and player changes are happening and coach changes are happening, and there's anxiety and angst and all of these feelings and unsettledness, and that you are unstoppable. You go through it, and it's the mentality that we had in 2017 when we were in promotion relegation with our backs against the wall, about to be kicked out of the LCS, to then go on and win back to back to back to back championships. That's being unstoppable. And so for me, I apply kind of our experience as an organization to get through this. And I still have all the will in the world that we'll do well.
Great, thanks.
Next question is from Robert Haynes from the Game House.
Hey, yeah. So I was wondering about Armeo in particular. I know you guys were talking about Jenkins and Dokla. Is there plans to have Armeo play on both teams, or should we be potentially expecting like another signing? What is the situation looking like for that?
So currently we don't have clarity on that, but we know for sure that our man will be playing this weekend, and until Santorin is healthy enough to come back and 100%. For Jenkins and Armel just stepping in and just playing LCS, I think we are super grateful to have a amazing academy team, and I praise Spawn for being able to create an academy team that we could just plug and play into our LCS team. And for Dokla, he'll be playing academy, and if Armel does end up having to play most of the LCS, then we'll find that answer then, maybe a substitute, but we'll wait out to play off for this weekend, and then we'll know more.
All right, thanks.
Next question is from Shay Robson.
Hey guys, I just want a little bit of an update on how the rest of the team is feeling at the moment. Of course, this must suck for the rest of the guys. What's their mentality like at the moment, and how are you going to ensure that, they stay focused and, do well going into this week of the LCS?
Yep. So I would describe it as you said it. There's change happening right now, but in conversation with the team, there's one thing that unifies everyone, and that is the will to win. It is palpable, and you can feel it. And I think Cold is yielding it. and that's pretty exciting. So we have such a talented group of players, both on our main team and academy teams. I think we've built a structure, and I want to thank Josh for helping us do that. It's something that's incredible and kind of allowed us to continue our performance, even amidst all of these changes that have been happening. I think it speaks volumes to our wherewithal.
Next question from Michael Kelly from Dottie Sports.
Hello. First and foremost, thank you for taking the time. I guess my question revolves around the organization's confidence level right now. Obviously, Team Liquid has been a title contender since the beginning of the season, but with such a huge shakeup in the middle of the year, how confident is the organization that the team can continue accruing momentum and push to the finish line and potentially even qualify for a second straight world championship berth?
Yep. I think we see past what's happening. The last couple chapters of the season have yet to be written. I would describe not only my own personal conviction, but that it's been shared with me by players and coaching staff. We are extremely confident that we will do well.
Next question is from Ashley Kang from Horizon Esports.
Hello, I'm Ashley Kang from Horizon Esports. Thank you so much for taking time and having this transparency for the fans and the audience. The overarching circumstances aside, it is true that this is a very major change while we are so close to Worlds qualification and possibly for Worlds. And you talked about goal being on, still being on winning, and you talked about the coaching staff and players being passionate. You talked about the confidence, but can you give us specific details on what kind of measures you will place and how the organization will assist the teams and the players in order for the fans to share this confidence? If the specific will be really appreciated.
I can talk to a few things, and then if you want to add in on anything that you have. So one of the things that we're doing is we are reevaluating some of the structure and how we practice and prepare for our matches. That's going to be more optimized, which I think under Cole's leadership will be really great. We have opened up a budget to contract with positional coaches, and we are far along with some of those conversations where they'll come in and be able to do POV review and then prepare specific presentations that will be sent to those respective, top lane or bot lane sort of thing. And I think if we find great individuals there and contract those resources, I think that will be really good. We have Ben, who is a new manager for the team, and he has been absolutely incredible, passionate, creating a great energy around the team. He's got an amazing heart. He is considerate and thoughtful and empathetic, and he's a goofball. Love you, Ben. Sorry, I didn't insult you there, but he's awesome, and I think that really helps with kind of like the team dynamic and just a lot of the casual time that the players have. And I think this is a rallying point to our analysts that are working on presentations to level up and put in more and higher quality work so that our players can receive great information. Those are some that come top of mind. And Spawn is going to be here, I think, in 5 or 6 days, which is going to be incredible because he's amazing, and having him on site, both for the academy team and also to support the main team, will be very helpful.
Yeah, and I think you touched most of the things that we were planning to do. But if anything else that comes up, like we are good at identifying what the team needs, and we are very transparent on like giving them what they need as well. So any resources that we can provide them, in and outside of the game, that we are prepared to do.
Yeah, and I would just say motivation from the team is high, and that's an essential ingredient to this that shouldn't be understated.
Next question from Travis Gafford of Travis Gafford Industries.
Hey guys, hopefully you can hear me. I'm in the car. So I appreciate, as with the other media, the transparency here. I'm kind of curious from Steve, in hindsight, which is always 2020, how would you have handled all of this differently, both externally within the organization and then also in your communications with the fans and audience?
Okay, I'll own up to this. I think if I could go back and redo something, and I hate to live with regret, but I'll just be really transparent, as you mentioned. I think decision number one is that we should have been more, I don't say forceful, but we should have pushed harder to have Alfari take a break when he was going through so much. That was mistake number one. Mistake number two was the conversations that happened after the game with TSM. I don't think they were fair to Barney. After that, the communications, also the interview, Travis, that you did with Josh as well, like just the whole sequence of communication that was immediately after that, I think could have been more optimal, because we all wanted the same thing, but it got lost in miscommunication and misinterpretation. And that's our responsibility as an organization. And then I would say, there's not much else.
Next question from Declan from Upcomer.
Hi, I apologize. This was covered before. I just want to get a specific answer. What was your immediate reaction to Jat handing in his resignation? And then if you can speak on it, the players' reactions as well.
Yeah, so my reaction, I had been working with Josh, and I still to this day believe he's a great head coach. You know, I think the pressure of me getting more involved, I think the social pressure online, I think kind of for me, it wasn't a surprise. I wasn't shocked. I understood. I also highly respected his level of self-awareness in all of this. I think it takes a lot for somebody to say, like, this team has a higher probability of winning without me. I think it's respectable. I didn't want to push him and convince him otherwise. I just asked if he was sure about this. And when he was, I accepted. In terms of the other players, I felt like it was the most appropriate thing to do to have Josh have those conversations directly with each of the team members. So we didn't have those conversations. He did.
Going to go ahead and make these the last two questions of the press conference. Alan from Dexerto.
Hey guys. All right. So hindsight is 2020. That's fair. Miscommunication, cleaning that up for next time. That's fair. But right now, Team Liquid as one of the leaders in LCS, the moves that you guys make in the offseason, the success that you guys garner. You have an MVP mid laner. He's now going to be supported by an academy jungler. You're a multi-million-dollar man. Is now out for the time being. What message is it sending to not only your own teams, but like fans, players, investors, about the goals that you still guys have for this team in light of all the issues? I know everybody likes to say, oh, Worlds, we got to go to Worlds. That's the #1 goal. But like, is that really healthy right now?
I think if we go into this thinking that there's not going to be problems every year, then we've already failed. The fact of the matter is we're going through stuff and we're handling it really well, you know? And so that's it. We move on. We can't sulk. We can't wait. We just win. We just got to focus on what's next. And that's just a strong mindset that we embody here.
Last question from dGon, Ben.
So with all these changes, and I think and a need to kind of change the perception through not sulking, just winning, how much more hands-on are you going to be, Steve, with the team moving forward, given that there's a leadership gap that is being filled, but also still needs to be filled?
Yep. I definitely will be involved, but I really want to lean on Cold. I want him to open his wings, you know, and go. And I don't want to impede on that, but I will continue to be a consultant, you know. I'll offer help, of course, to continue to have meetings with the coaching staff, but I don't see myself working directly as much with the players. But I care so much about this. This is, it means a lot to me. So yes, you know, and sometimes it is frustrating when, you know, you want to be really deeply involved, but I do have trust in Cold and Hacks, and I have to lean into that. And so, but this is very much on my radar. I'm in it. I'm aware, I'm involved.
And with that, that concludes today's press conference. Steve, Dodo, thank you so much for your time. And thank you to the press for attending. If the press has any follow-up questions, you can always email us at teamliquid@thestorymob.com. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
you.
Appreciate it. And thanks to all the fans who watched. Appreciate you guys and gals. Bye.